Well, good evening, friends and family. Well, I don't know if my family watches. Your family watches. I don't know if
My
mine
family, my
does.
family does watch. That is, yes.
Let me play like the little violin for myself right now. I don't think my family watches. Everybody feel bad for me. Just kidding. Just kidding. It's all good. I really don't know if they watch or not. But that's okay. We've got a great show for you guys. And even if it's not my family watching, the heck with them. I don't care.
I'm literally dying.
Say hi, Clay, and then we'll
Lots,
throw that.
yeah, lots to talk about tonight. Lots going on. Packed show. We got lot to talk about.
There's going to be one day, there's going to be 1 week where I do a really smooth intro and outro for the show. This is not that week, but one day, guys, I'm going to do it. You know how it's going to happen? I'm just going to shut up and I'm going to let Clay start the show. I think that's what we need to do. I think next week, hold me to it. Hold me to it. Be like, I got this.
Have you seen the shows I do by myself? They're not any better.
I think you
really
do a
not.
fantastic job. I think you're very smooth. I think you flow from one subject to the next. You don't have the laughter thing that I do, that every time I see it in here, I twitch. So guys, if you don't know this, I do the editing for the show, the producing everything. So don't knock it. I mean, it is what it is. You get what you get. What is it? You get what you get and you don't get upset. But yeah, so it is incredibly hard to sit and watch yourself, especially when you realize, oh, I was just rambling on and on. I was not making any sense there. I just said a whole bunch of nothing, just like Kamala does. And I think I'm morphing into her. It's really difficult. And it's okay, though. It's okay. I got this.
You're fine.
Listen,
People
never
love
mind
you.
me. Thank you.
Listen,
Thank
yeah,
you.
your
You
laugh,
know what?
your laugh
I'll
is
tell
missed.
you.
Every time you're away,
Yeah.
your laugh is missed. We all miss it.
I appreciate that. I'll tell you what, we really do have the kindest, most gracious followers of our content and everything. They are so sweet. They say the nicest things. They're always like giving you an attaboy, attagirl. They're just amazing. And the only time someone says anything negative is if they're a troll. Because those are the only ones that say negative things. Everybody else has got, if you're going to say something like that needs constructive criticism, our folks are literally the best at it. They're like, maybe you might want to blah blah blah, or what if trying this. It's so kind. It's like a compliment sandwich. Like, you guys are so great, but I bet if you did this.
They're on our team. They are. They're on our team. They want it to be better. I appreciate the feedback.
Yep, they got our back every week, so we appreciate you guys very, very much. And I bet they would really appreciate it if I would just stop rambling and get right into it, dude. So as always, we remind you that we record on Tuesday. You see this on Thursday, so this is the news that happened today. Of course, it'll be 2 days old when you see this, but this. Are we surprised? I'm not. I'll tell you right off the bat, I'm not. Tell me your thoughts on this.
So I'm not surprised at the verdict. It was pretty cut and dry. I think they dug into a lot of Biden family, shenanigans. There's, he said some not so very nice things about his stepmom. He was pretty, I don't know, he's pretty horrific as a human being, but
yes,
we all knew. But now there's proof positive. But it proved that the laptop is valid, which I think is the most important thing.
Was that your laptop?
For real, I don't know.
But I also think this is a bit of a diversion.
Right.
I don't think he's going to spend any jail time, which, because of that, won't even give his father opportunity to go backwards on his vow to not pardon his son. So since he's not going to go to jail, then the pardon, he's still the president's son. He's still Biden. People are still paying a stupid amount of money for his horrific paintings. But Yeah, there's no reason to clear his record because it doesn't matter. He can be a
Right.
felon, and it's not going to stop anything. Um,
Mhm.
and I think that's all this is it's shiny object. Look over here,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
that's the end of it. So
Yeah, I think they had to sacrifice somebody, right? They had to be like, well, who's the most expendable here? Who's already a mess? Like, you can't redeem this guy. You can't fix anything here. So we might as well just throw him under. Throw him under. Let him be the one. And, like you said, shiny object, or in his case, tarnished, trashy object. Everybody go look at the train wreck. Never mind all the rest of the train wreck. Just look at this train wreck right here, and they'll do their shenanigans. But so for anyone who hasn't been following because it just grosses you out so much, and you try not to know any of the things, but now I'm going to tell you the things. So they convicted Hunter Biden on all 3 felony counts. It's not 34 counts. I'm sorry, guys. It's not 34. It's only 3. Including lying to a federally licensed firearms dealer, making a false claim on federal firearms background check form, and being in possession of an illegally obtained firearm. He faces up to 25 years in prisons. Yeah, right, for his crimes, and up to $750,000 in fines. Which isn't that just one painting for him?
yeah, he's going to get fined. There's
Yeah,
definitely that's where they're going to get him. It's going to be the monetary.
right.
I think if it's if there's prison, if there's a sentence involved, it'll be house arrest. It won't be
Right.
anything, ankle monitor kind of thing at most. And I
Mhm.
don't even think that's going to happen. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, three charges, three
Mhm.
guilty, guilty verdicts on all 3. So,
Mhm.
you know, we said this a couple of weeks ago, just the fact that they even tried to hide behind the Second Amendment was gross, by the
Mhm.
party that's trying to take away everybody's guns.
Yep.
You've got the fact that he pled not guilty to all this as with all the evidence that was out there.
Mhm.
It's just the whole thing was just an absolute sham, but it was trying to take away a little bit of, attention from the mess of the current administration. But really, I think the timing of it kind of backfired because if you think about
Mm.
it, right after the President Trump trial,
Yeah.
so nobody's
Yes.
even like that, oh, he's a felon, he's this, he's that, and then it's like,
Right.
um, hey, by the way, that's probably going to get a mistrial, and they're going to have to start all over again, and then you get the Hunter thing afterwards. So it really has
Mhm.
kind of taken all the steam out of and all the pressure off of the Trump verdict
Right.
inadvertently, which I don't think was the intent at all, but I think the timing of it worked out that way.
No, I'm guessing they probably thought we'd be so hyper focused on, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they thought we'd be hyper focused on Trump and ignore all of that. And it just kind of validated everything that so many people, I can raise my hand on that, have been saying all along from the minute the stuff about the laptop started leaking and coming out. It's like, yeah, no, that tracks. This guy's a scumbag.
Yep.
I mean, he truly is. Were it not for Biden crime family money, he would be some slug on some street corner dealing crack to little kids. I mean, that is who this guy is. He's
He'd be dead.
gross. Yeah.
I'm convinced he would, if not for his dad being who he was, he'd be dead. And it would
Yeah.
be, either an overdose or it
Hmm.
would be, a drug deal gone bad or something. But
Yeah.
he's just that kind of filthy human being that, that would be his ultimate end. But again, saved by money and power. It is what it
Hmm.
is. But I guilty on 3 counts. I don't think he'll spend a minute in jail. I think
Right.
the financial penalty will be pretty significant. But
Hmm.
again, I think this amounts to essentially nothing.
Yeah. So I'm probably wrong, but I will say there is part of me that says, I could actually see them giving him some jail time. And only because Biden would think, or the Biden team, Biden doesn't think at all. Like there's nothing happening there. We know that. I'm a little spicy today, aren't I, Clay? A
Okay.
little bit spicy.
We like the spicy. Spicy's good.
Spicy's good, right? Yeah, part of me says, like, let's face it, Biden, even when he was cognitively present. He didn't care about anything, but himself, in his image and all of his, or what he thinks is his image. And I really honestly wouldn't be surprised if they gave him a little jail time, because I feel like in their mind they'd be like, yeah, but that'll make Biden look really like strong, like not even my son is above the law. Who knows? I don't think
Well, there's a lot of reasons he won't go to jail, and one of them is he's a security risk. I mean,
oh my gosh, what a great point. Yeah.
How would you like to be how would you like to be the warden of the prison where the president's son is and have to provide security for him on a daily basis? Because, prison is what it is, especially when you start getting into violent crime, like high level,
Sure.
Max security kind of stuff, if he even got there. But even some of the lower security prisons, there's a lot of violence that goes on in there, and they would have to protect him. I mean, Epstein clearly didn't hang himself. So
Right.
there's always that, but I wouldn't want to be the warden or the guard on shift or
No.
anybody else associated with that. So he's a security risk. He could, a lot of things could happen. I highly doubt that he spends any time in jail. And there's a multitude of reasons. One, I just think that it's never going to happen. But there's legal precedent being set here, right? He's the first presidential child to get convicted of a felony. He didn't get the protection that old Teddy Kennedy got as the brother of a former president. But if he doesn't serve jail time, then what is to stop anybody else from trying to purchase a firearm illegally for whatever reason? Because they have this, precedent will be set. It'll be U.S. versus Biden. Your Honor, when it comes to sentencing, I quote U.S. versus Biden, and he received no jail time. So they got to be careful with this, but I still believe zero jail time, zero.
Right. Yeah, I mean that this has put them in a very difficult position for that alone. I mean, long list of reasons why, but that is a really, really good one, because let me tell you, if I were someone facing the same charges, average Joe facing the same charges, you better damn well believe that's the first thing I want my lawyer pulling up. Like, wait a minute, what's up with that? Let's talk about about that for a minute.
Yep.
So yeah, that's going to be a problem. We'll see what happens. I don't mean this like in a gleeful way, but I can't wait to see what happens with this.
Yeah. Sentencing will be interesting for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. We should take a poll. I'd like to take a poll. I don't know if I can do this in like our comment section. I probably not, if I can figure out a way to do it, but definitely curious what you guys think is going to happen. Let's take guesses. Tell me in the comments. Sure. Tell us in the comments. What do you think is going to happen with him? We won't even we'll do this with Trump also. As we get closer to sentencing, we'll do that too. But might as well, since we're talking about Hunter right now, go ahead and pop it in the comments what you think is going to happen. I'm definitely curious. Not the only, as if that's not enough, not the only big thing going on. We've got the big Fauci COVID hearing. That was pretty wow.
Yeah.
In some ways.
So again, today's Tuesday. Today's the Cuomo, the beginning of the Cuomo testimony.
Right.
So we don't even know at this point, what was said today. I know that he was brought up on the stand. He was going to testify today. So they're digging into every facet of this, which is long overdue, truthfully, but definitely due. So, the short version of the Fauci testimony.
So obviously this whole section, we can't put this up on YouTube. I can't put this whole part, but it will be up on Rumble. We'll see what happens with Facebook, all of those things. But yeah, YouTube basically gave me a warning, took down the video. I appealed it. They said, nope. Sent a message to them saying, all of the things I just said. And of course, no response, because they don't let you talk to a real person. So this is what we're still dealing with. We're still dealing with censorship over the topic. We're still dealing with ostracization from, all of this. The aftermath and the after effects are so continuous in so many different ways. And I really, along with many, many other people, including yourself, I'm sure, want to see some consequence. That's it. I just want to see consequence, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like nothing would please me more, truthfully. I would
Yeah.
I'd rather see Fauci in jail than Hunter Biden.
Same. Yeah.
I had to pick one. Oh, I know who I'd go with.
Yeah, absolutely. Crimes against humanity or some drug-addled loser. Yeah,
Something.
I'm going to take the right.
But we don't learn our lesson. We don't. And
We don't.
it's switching topics, but the next thing is, Apple just made a huge announcement about AI in all of their phones. And it has garnered such a response that Elon Musk has said he will ban Apple phones from all of his businesses, all of them. That's how, like, that guy of all people was like,
Of
nope,
all people.
this is irresponsible. It's going to get out of control. This is a danger to everybody and everything because it's not being managed properly. I will ban it from every one of my businesses, period. And so what does that tell? Because it's not a competition thing, right?
No.
He doesn't have, he's not Google, right? He's not Android. He's not, you know what I mean? He doesn't have a competing operating system from Apple. So it's not that.
Right.
He
did he float that out there? Did he float it out there on X?
I mean, if there's a essential need to make a phone, I'll make a phone, but I got a lot of fish to fry. So
yeah, that'd be interesting if he did offer something to rival that. I don't know, but either way, the whole, and we've talked about AI, the infiltration of AI in basically everything we do now, and quite honestly, it's been going on longer than we generally realize, the general population, longer than we have been aware of it. This has been present in our lives. This is just now openly and available, openly out there and now available to us to use and be abused and misused and all of those things. It's a bad call.
Yeah. So AI really is, the application for the average person was never there until recently or not, there was no way to apply it or no way to apply it effectively to a normal person's day, right? ChatGPT is probably the first door opener where most everybody could look at that and go, well, I could use it for something, can't figure out what to write in a birthday card, like whatever it is, they can come up with something. AI, as you said, has been around in forms and fashions and for decades, right? I mean, if you think about it, autopilot on an airplane that responds to, air pressure changes and all those kinds of things, that's all a form of artificial intelligence. And it's all just data in, reaction, making corrections, continuing to fly the plane, just as an example. But that was a very specific application, right?
Yeah.
For a very specific purpose. AI, as it's growing, has gotten to the point where it touches everybody, right? It's going to touch everybody.
Yeah.
And they know, they being, that infamous they, everybody's got a phone.
Right.
And if you want AI to touch everybody, that's the way to do it. Just like everything
That's
else.
the way.
There's an app for that, right?
There's an app for that.
But
there's literally an app for everything. Yeah.
And what Apple's done is they've taken out the choice. There's no app anymore. It is part of the phone. And that's where
it's like basically part of their operating system, right?
It is. And that's where the big fear is, and that's where Elon Musk is, pushing back, is he's like, there's no option. I don't think, my understanding is there's no option to turn it off. And truthfully, even if there was an option to turn it off, I wouldn't believe that shit anyway, because you're never, we all know it's listening, right? We've all had it. I don't care who you are. Yeah. You talk about a topic and 5 minutes later, you're scrolling through Facebook and there's an ad for the exact thing that you were just talking about. It's listening. We all know this.
Yeah.
But this, with it built into the phone, it's not just the apps, right? You had the opportunity to not use apps, to not use social media, to not use Amazon, you had the choice. They're taking away that choice. If you're going to have a phone, an Apple phone that's going to have AI in it, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And,
Yep.
we've seen, and, and the thing is, like, there are people that'll say, well, I mean, it's still a work in progress. They're working on perfecting it. And, quite frankly, I don't want you to perfect it. I don't want it perfected. No, thank you. Like, that's more of a problem. I like to see, when I see a AI generated picture, I like to see that 6th and 7th finger put at awkward angles, because it's AI, you know what I mean? So don't get better at it. Don't get perfect at it, because we're already in enough trouble as it is. Yeah. I'm not an Apple. I'm very happy to say I'm not an Apple user, no Apple products whatsoever. Can't stand them. Always hated them. Always been an Android user. And I always will be, probably, even if they do this nonsense too, which I hope that they don't. I hope they're smart enough not to. But yeah, I'm an Android girl. So haha, Apple.
Yeah, this is the growth of this. Like you said, nobody, the idea of perfecting it, I think, is a fallacy. I don't think there is a way to perfect it. Perfect AI is an android, literally an android that doesn't need you as a human being. That's perfect AI, right?
Right.
And that's not where any of us want to get to. I don't.
No.
And there's simple fears, right? I know that in the reaches of the entertainment industry, they are already banking on the fact that actors, writers, are all going to be, even musicians are going to be out of work. Because they're all going to be replaced by AI. You're not going to need, and oh, by the way, they can replicate. They can make somebody look just like me, just like you, just like pick your favorite movie star. They can put together an entire movie that is 100% digital with not a single live actor in it, make it look as completely realistic, and they'll be done in 1/8 of the time and under 1/10 of the cost.
Yeah.
So there's all of that. But, the greater thing, and again, it goes back to everything we've seen on television and movies over the years, right? Skynet from Terminator, like that's the scariest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Right? That AI gets to a point where not only it doesn't need human beings, it doesn't want human beings.
Right.
We interfere with what it's trying to do, and we are not responsible enough to control that right now. And that's what your point of perfecting AI is exactly that. Those people who keep meddling, let's see, what can it do, what can it not do? Well, if it can't do that, let's try and fix it. And then it gets out of it's gain of function in Wuhan lab, right? That's what this is. And all of a sudden it escapes, and then it's all over the world, and you can't control it.
Yeah. Right now, we're still dealing with, the issue with the faults in AI are because of human input, human bias, human input, really. I mean, that kind of sums it up, doesn't it? And, so it's easier. It's not easy, but it's easier to catch because you can see it. Obviously, the whole Google AI fiasco was a perfect example of that, when it was kind of, quickly discovered that the people that were inputting the information, definitely had some, right? Yeah. So, Black George Washington. Of course he was. Duh. Everybody knows he was, silly. Yeah. So, it's scary stuff. And, it's like, the problem is Pandora's box has been opened. You can't close it. How do you close it? The only way you can close it is to completely eliminate and shut down the internet. Like you would have to. And obviously that's not going to happen. You can't. You can't govern it. And goodness knows they'll try. Because that'll somehow benefit them. But you can't. So what do you do? I mean, you just have to, we have to keep up and have like really, really good discernment and be really mistrustful of, which you should be already. You should already, when it comes to the internet, especially in media, you should already be extremely distrustful of what you see and what you hear. I mean, you have to do so many of your own fact checks. And obviously so many people choose not to do that. They just take sound bites and just run with it. And, whatever my internet source just told me must be true because the internet never lies, of course. But, right. My favorite are always the ones like, it's like a picture of Albert Einstein and he's talking about, the internet,
Oh.
But yeah.
And the guy who's going to protect us. The guy who's going to protect us
Yeah.
is our current president. This is the guy
Yeah.
who's going to make sure that we're safe, right? He's taking
This
care of all of
guy.
us. And if you guys, I don't know if you've got the clip or not, but holy crap.
Yeah.
Distinguished guests, please welcome the Honorable Lloyd J. Austin III.
At
Yes.
D-Day celebration in Normandy, in France, 80th anniversary, right? It marking
Yes.
one of the most historic days in the history of the world. And our president he got confused getting out of the Suburban. He got
We had like 3
confused.
very distinct moments, right? Getting out of the Suburban, just standing there like, the apocalypse zombie, just like frozen. Then what was the next one? Was that the when
trying to sit down? That everybody's now they've turned it into a dance.
Yes.
Like, he turns, he spins, he turns and spins. He can't sit down. And then
you have Jill. Jill, real subtle Jill. She's like, stand up.
And then at the end, when he was supposed to turn around and honor guys older than him, truthfully, some 100-year-old D-Day veterans, Dr. Jill snatched him up and ran him off stage.
Shuffled him, got him shuffling Joe right off the stage.
Now, there's speculation that was a bathroom emergency.
Yes, that is widely rumored to have been the case. Yeah.
Mommy, I gotta poop. I mean, that's what is in my head, is like him as like with this toddler's voice, and he's got to go. It's, and then of course, and this just pains me so much that the French president, who I despise, had to jump in, and he did. And I give him a lot of props for it. He jumped in, recognized that President Biden was bailing. He was on his way out, and he jumped in and he shook hands like a good diplomat. Right. Said thank you to all, greeted and said thank you to all these D-Day veterans up there, filled the gap. It was a great move on his part.
Yes.
But shameful and embarrassing for us,
Incredibly. And then there was another moment too, and I think and I'll put the clip up there too. I think they were playing taps, and they were all, facing, assumably, because it's just them they're showing, it's supposed to face the flag. And Joe just randomly turns around and faces the opposite direction of everyone. And he's just standing there staring off into space for a moment.
So that was from earlier, and this is live now.
And everybody around him is kind of like, well, okay, well, we'll do that too, like to save face here, to like, make it look like that was intentional. And it was so clear, every step of that was so clear what was happening there. Like, okay, well, what do we do? Okay, just turn around with him. Somebody's probably in an earpiece going, just follow his lead. Just follow his lead. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So bad.
And
so embarrassing.
If you think it's isolated or whatever, just today.
Did
you see it? The Juneteenth thing?
I sure did.
Juneteenth ceremony. He's got Vice President Harris standing next to him, and she's dancing. They're playing music. I don't know who else was on the other side of him, but they're dancing and she's singing along, and he is sitting there, like you said, like a zombie.
Frozen.
Like, it is the creepiest. Frozen.
Yes.
He looks like, he does. He looks like some crazy old man,
Yeah.
It's just, I can't believe that he's continuing to run for president. I can't believe that anyone's allowing him to run for president.
Everybody's going along with this. Like, this is normal. This is normal. I mean, are you even kidding me right now? This feels like the world's biggest joke. It feels like we are living the Truman Show, and we're all Truman. Like, we're all like, is this real? How is this real life? How are they, this is, and we've said it many times. People have said it many times over the course of all of these incidents. Every time it's the same statement. This is elder abuse. It is. And listen, don't get it twisted. I have zero sympathy for that man, even in this state, because he is a horrible human being. So I don't have sympathy for him. And, God forgive me for that. I'll try and find it. I don't have it right now, but I mean, this is elder abuse. This is and Jill Biden, another
Guilty.
monster,
Guilty.
just dragging them around, dragging,
Yep.
this weekend at Bernie's corpse around everywhere and pretending like this is totally cool. Totally cool. These people are just horrendous, horrendous people. And of course, if somebody asks, because somebody will, of course I'm going to make a video about that. Of course I'm going to do a spoof of that. How could I not? That one was a good one.
As you should.
I must.
And this year, right, for those that don't keep track of this, I picked this up as a kid and it's always stuck in my head. President election year, leap year, and the Olympics, the Summer Olympics, used to be all of the Olympics, but now it's just the Summer Olympics, are all the same year. Okay. Every 4 years, they all hit the same year. So I actually was talking about this with somebody today and they said, is this year the Olympics? Have you seen any ads for it?
Nothing.
Like it's
not
June.
A single thing. No, when we were talking about topics earlier, like what we were going to be talking about tonight, and you said that, I'm like, Olympics, huh? I mean, there's just no headspace for it. Like, there's no room in the news feed for it because it is so jam-packed with insanity. The Olympics right now are an absolute afterthought. And it's not even, I can't even call it an afterthought for me. It wasn't even a thought. Like I said, when you said Olympics, I'm like, I didn't even know that was happening. So who else, guys? Who else said that?
The Olympics, was every 4 years, everybody was a patriot, right? I mean, every 4 years, everybody was a patriot. Everybody rooted for USA, right? Every time we won. And if you remember when you and I were younger children, right? It was USA, USSR medal count. Like, that's all we cared about, right? They had it posted at McDonald's.
That's right.
They had it, I mean, it was everywhere. You used to find that all over the place. And we cared. And we did. And you'd watch events you didn't give a crap about just to see if the Americans won, right?
Yeah.
You'd watch rowing.
Yeah, events that you didn't even know existed. Yeah.
Absolutely not. But it was America. It was the Olympics, and we gave a shit how well we did. And right now, you know what? Do you know how people even know the Olympics is going on? Because Caitlin Clark didn't make the Olympic basketball team.
Yes.
That's why. People are like, she didn't make the team. Wait a minute. It's like you said, is it the Olympics this year?
Yeah.
Because they don't know. Because nobody cares. You know why? This is my honest opinion.
Yeah.
It's not cool to be patriotic. For the vast majority, even those of us that are, right? And I know you are, and obviously, I am, and I think our friend circles are probably pretty patriotic folks, right? So we kind of live in it.
Yes.
But for the vast majority of America, patriotic is not a cool thing to be anymore. It's much cooler to say America sucks and I hate America and America has ruined my life. It's much cooler to say that.
Right. We're oppressed here.
Yeah. Well, there's that, right? And so it's not cool to root for America, in an Olympic year. So that's why it's not being I think it's not being advertised, and people don't care because it's not cool to be patriotic and love America right now.
I think you have something there. Very sadly, I think you really do have something there. People just don't care, and it's not cool to have pride in our country, and that is such a shame. And that actually makes me want to watch it now. Get my American flag out.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get my thin blue.
Pay the extra for the Olympics package on my streaming TV.
I'm gonna get my American flag out, and I'm gonna get my thin blue line flag out, and I'm gonna wave those suckers so high and give my home state of Connecticut and the town of Wethersfield a big middle finger. And I don't know if you saw that story. I'll just very, very quickly touch on that. Yes, the town of Wethersfield in Connecticut, which is, like I said, my home state, decided against flying the thin blue line flag in honor of Trooper Pelletier, who lost his life last week. And they declined raising it in his honor, but were willing to lower the LGBTQXYZ ABCDEFG flag. They were willing to lower that to half staff. The flag that celebrates people's sexuality, because that makes sense. So big F you to Wethersfield for that.
Wow. That's a very odd decision all the way around. Like if they had said, because I know some people too that, look at all the flags, the thin blue line, the green line, the red line, all the different lines that are out there. people look at it and they say, well, that's not an American flag, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So
Okay.
they opt not to, especially government
Government
agencies,
buildings. Yeah.
who say, we're not going to fly that. It's not an American flag. Okay,
Right.
fine. Right. We're going to stick with the American flag and the POW MIA flag, state flag, whatever. Right. But to say we're going to fly this other flag, which isn't a flag, right? It's not an official flag.
No.
And then we're going to lower that to half staff on behalf of someone who I'm assuming doesn't fit into that demographic.
Nope.
That makes
not at all.
absolutely no sense. That is
Nope.
a horrible
Nope,
decision.
their justification, and let me, I will make a clarification. That's not an FU to the town of Wethersfield. There was an FU to the people who had the deciding factor in
the city
that, because the
board
town
or
of Wethersfield,
whoever it is.
the town of Wethersfield, driving through the town of Wethersfield, I have noticed that there are an exceedingly higher amount of "We support police" and the
Nice.
Thin Blue Line banners in a lot of front yards. Businesses are flying the thin Blue Line flag. So huge props to them for doing that. And that's, as a law enforcement spouse, obviously that is very heartwarming and gratifying, because, you definitely, when you're part of the law enforcement family, you definitely, when things like this happen, you just feel kind of kicked in the face.
Sure.
That a man who lost his life serving his community, serving people, keeping people safe, and you can't take a hot minute to give some love and respect for that. Shame on them. Shame. And what a disgrace. It's actually it made some national news. Somebody actually said, I haven't heard it, somebody said Biden even talked about it. I have to find out if that's true or not, but anyhow, I took us on an absolute aside. Apologize for that, guys.
You didn't though, because you brought us right to the next thing we were going to talk about, which is these. So Washington State, right?
Mm-hmm.
Washington State, the LGBTQ community is protected for a lot of reasons. Listen, I'm not going to, kind of throw that off to the side. There's a lot of persecution, a lot of violence for a lot of years. They were pushed to the side, and there's a lot of acknowledgement that goes on now. However, the pendulum has swung past center, right?
Yes.
And proof positive is, we've spent months now watching vandalism. We've spent years now watching vandalism to national monuments. We've seen vandalism to priceless pieces of art. We've seen vandalism to college campuses. We've seen all kinds of vandalism, in support of things like climate change, Hamas, free Palestine, all of this other stuff. We all remember George Floyd riots, burning cities down, and
very well. I remember
about that. People were just expressing themselves. They needed to get their anger out, and it was all washed away. Three kids, one I think 19, the other two under 18, in Washington State on e-scooters, right?
Yep,
protecting the environment. They went across an LGBTQ mural on a street,
right?
Okay, and left skid marks all over the rainbow, painting that was on the ground. They got
that was okay though, right, Clay? That was okay though. That was okay for them to do, right?
Arrested and felony hate crime charges. These three kids, right? Unbelievable. The lack of awareness, perspective, how far the pendulum is swung in one direction, that you can have all of this other crap going on and everybody says it's okay. And then you get three kids doing, truthfully, let's be honest, stupid kid stuff.
Yeah.
That has now turned into a hate crime and felony charges. They're facing 10 years in prison, these three kids, right?
It's so insane.
It is. We have gone way off the friggin' deep end. We are protecting certain segments of society, not equally, not even close.
Right.
And everybody's applauding this shit. It's unbelievable. I can't believe, we've lost the bubble on what equality is. We have. It's gone. It's out. It's equality for me, not for you. If you are of traditional American values, if you're of traditional conservative Christian values, any of those things, nobody gives a crap about you or your safety. Your thin blue line example is very much the same thing.
Yeah.
And nobody cares. It's so unbelievable to me that this is not only accepted, but this, the district attorney chose to charge these guys. Like, it didn't get to a point where they looked at him and were like, hey, listen, write them a ticket, send them on their way. No.
Right. No, we're going to
charge them. Unbelievable.
Yeah. 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 We are truly in the upside down. We are living in the upside down, and, something has to give. I mean, we're technically past the point of something's got to give, but we're truly there. We're truly at the something big has to give. And I don't know if that means, this presidential election, that this is going to turn a tide. I know so many people on the right believe that and want that to be the case and feel that's the case. I hope that that's the case. I hope that is the beginning of the tide turning, and sensibility coming back. It's just so far gone. We are so far gone into this other world, this other dimension, which is filled with insanity and hypocrisy and lunacy and all of the things that I don't know. I hope that the change comes sooner than later. And then, I'll throw in my Christian thing as a Christian, makes you really hope for the rapture. Really makes you hope for it. It's like, come take me now. Get me out of this clown show.
Yeah, it's a massive shift in values.
Yeah.
Truthfully, in the last 10 years, it's been significant in the last 10 years. There's been a slow drift for a while, but the last 10 years have been a lot. And now it's to the point where the wrongful prejudices of the past, and only a fool doesn't acknowledge that we had, poor prejudices of the past, right? History is what it is. It's a fact. I'm not denying it. I'm certainly not making excuses for it. But those prejudices are now happening in reverse. Yeah, they are.
And being justified. And
not just justified, but encouraged.
Right.
I mean, we talked about this, John Leguizamo, who is an actor, and I don't know if you're familiar with his work, right? Leguizamo, there's some stuff that he's done over the years that I like. He plays a great bit in the John Wick movies. He's the car guy, and he is a talented actor, and he plays some really great parts. But he just took out a full page ad. I think it's a New York Times that encourages people to not vote for white Emmy candidates. I think it's the Emmys or it's the Oscars. It's one or the other. But just blatantly says, don't vote for the white people. That's what it says.
It's crazy.
And it's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine to say. How about, Clay, what do you think will happen if you or I took out a full page ad anywhere and said, don't vote, whatever the thing is, whatever,
Pick
who
your
cares,
demographic.
whatever it is. Yeah, right. Yeah. Like, don't vote for the Black people. Don't vote for the Hispanic people. Don't give any votes to the Hispanic people. They're bad. I don't like them. What do you think would happen?
Well, first things first, the New York Times would never allow it.
Right.
Ever let you take out that ad. That would never happen. Right. Because why? Hate crime. Okay. Right. But also that's not in their messaging. That's not socially acceptable. It's okay to do what Leguizamo did. Why? I don't know, because it makes no common sense. I mean, you can make jump to all kinds of conclusions, but the reality is it makes no sense whatsoever. But it's okay.
Right.
And this is how we've gotten to this rise in anti-Semitism, which, that was so taboo, especially in Hollywood, all the way up until 7-8 months ago. Like, you didn't get to do that. And now it's totally okay. And we've gone off the deep end, and it's, anti-Semitism, it's anti-Jew. Now it's, and it's not even right Hispanic, right? Which Leguizamo is.
It's just anti-white. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And it's blatant.
It's simply anti-white, undisguised and, absurd. Can you imagine? Remember once upon a time you got work and accolades and praise and money for being good at what you do.
That is
Like,
correct.
remember when that was a thing? Like, it feels so far back in our history, but
Merit-based.
yeah,
Merit-based. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what we were built on. Work hard,
yes,
get ahead.
yeah.
That's it. It's not that anymore.
Well, I
And
think, the worst thing anyone can do at this point, at any point in time, but especially now, is to roll over and take it. And I think the pushback is definitely happening. People are definitely emboldened. People that used to get bullied into silence are now speaking up, are now saying, enough is enough. This is crap. This is ridiculous. You're seeing some businesses coming forward, more and more businesses coming forward and saying, you know what, we're not participating in this nonsense. No, thank you. And yeah, I mean, people just, you need to be bold, and you need to just simply decline and outright refuse to participate in the insanity, and I think that's the only way right now. You can't just hope it'll go away and ignore it and pretend that it doesn't affect your life, because we're all affected. Like, everybody's affected now by this. Their problem is now everybody's problem. Any problem they have is our problem, and obviously our fault, because we're apparently white. And by the way, I want some new classifications for me. I don't think my skin is white. I mean, this is white. This is the color white. This is not the color of my skin, and I am offended to be called white. So I would like to be called, I don't know, how am I going to come up with a color? A peach?
listen,
Ivory?
Elsa,
I don't know.
you're half Cuban.
Oh, yes, I am. Oh, yes. But listen, I don't count. I don't count. I'm not
know.
Cuban enough.
I
I'm not
know.
Hispanic enough for
Right?
them. So, that doesn't count. I'm apparently canceled out by my other whiteness. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had people say that to me too. Somebody will like, oh, look at your white privilege. And I'm like, well, thank you, but I'm actually Hispanic. They're like, yeah, right, you are. You're not. Well, you're not. Oh, okay. You
Okay.
said I'm not, so I guess
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go tell my
Clearly.
dad.
Yeah.
Tell my dad. Knuckleheads. I can't stand them. They're so dumb. Oh, I'm being kind when I say that. So yeah. So y'all, the world is crazy.
Listen.
Newsflash. I bet you didn't know.
We cranked through. That was probably the fastest hour I think we've ever had. I really feel like it. We got through
How
a
many
lot
did
of
we
stuff.
cover? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Seven,
We got
maybe?
6. Yeah, 6 or 7. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because I kind of segued. So we had 7
we got a
topics in
bunch.
there tonight.
We got a bunch. Yeah, great show.
Yes,
Love it.
absolutely. Guys, we really, really appreciate you hanging out with us. I only half apologize for my little rant before. I don't even know if I fully mean it. I probably only apologize for throwing it in there kind of randomly, but Clay segued for us. Clay brought it back around town. Nice job, buddy.
No, great show. Great show. This was
Yes.
fun. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us.
Absolutely. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. More importantly, we look forward to seeing you in the comments. So we had lots of questions for you, lots of stuff to add in there that we'd like to hear your input. So Clay, go ahead and take them out here.
Hey, as always for me, folks, thanks for hanging out with us, and keep moving, keep shooting.